So if I say it is a modern technology for building web applications, you'll have a doubt here, sir. Already we have ASP.NET, we have ASP.NET Core. Then what is this about is this particular Blazor is? Blazor is completely a different framework for building the applications. So one of the great thing about this particular Blazor is Blazor applications will run directly on the client side. They can run directly on the client side without a server-side interaction. They can run directly on the client side without a server-side interaction. Generally, web applications require server-side interactions. Web application requires server-side interactions. So Blazor applications can run without server-side interactions. Means, suppose if at all you require some complex data like database code or anything, in such cases, you may require interaction. But otherwise, for simple operations, you don't require to perform server-side interactions here. Maybe some database interactions, if required, you will be communicating with the server. But otherwise, these Blazor apps will be directly running for you on the client systems. That is one of the great things about this Blazor. So if you just understand about Blazor, see what is Blazor? Guys, have a look. What is Blazor? Blazor is a free and open source web framework. Blazor is a free open source web framework that enables developers to build interactive client-side web UI. Interactive client-side web UI with .NET. That is to create web apps using C# and HTML. Creating web apps by using C# and HTML. What is that? See guys, when you're writing the client-side code, if you have knowledge on the web application development, for writing client-side code, for writing client-side logic, what we use JavaScript or JavaScript frameworks. We'll be using JavaScript or JavaScript frameworks like Angular, Vue, React. And for server-side coding, you will be using C#. If it is Java, you'll be using Java. Like this, you'll be just using up different languages. So client-side, you'll be using JavaScripts or the Okay, so basically on client side, what we use for client side coding? What we use, guys? JavaScript or JavaScript frameworks like Angular, React, Vue, etc. And for server-side coding, what we use? If you're a .NET developer, you'll be using C#. If you're a Java developer, you'll be using Java. If you're a Python developer, you'll be using Python. If you're a PHP developer, you'll be using PHP script. Like this, you'll be using all this for the server-side coding. For the server-side, you'll be using this. For client-side, you'll be using JavaScript frameworks and all. Okay, so actually, Blazor is a concept that has been introduced by Microsoft, so that both on client side and server side, you can go for directly using C#. Both on client side and server side also, we can use C# code. So no need of using JavaScript or JavaScript framework for the client side coding. For client side also, we can go for using C#. That is the specialty of Blazor. That is going to be the interesting thing about this particular Blazor. For client side and server side, you can use C#. So see, that's what it's an free and open source framework that enables developers to build interactive client-side web UI with a .NET. That is, create web apps using C# and HTML. Means very less need of JavaScript. JavaScript. Okay, so the good thing what you have in this particular case is you can create rich interactive UIs using C# instead of JavaScript. All of you carefully observe. You can create rich interactive user interfaces using C# instead of JavaScript. Okay. Now, you can share server-side and client-side app logic written in .NET only. Means server-side code and client-side code, both are written by using .NET. Render the UI as HTML and CSS for wide browser support, including mobile browsers. See, you have the support for the UI and the HTML and CSS. You'll be rendering the UI with the help of HTML and CSS for a wide browser support, because all browsers will provide you a support. It's only a workshop, Ansari. It's only a workshop. We are not conducting a Blazor course. It's only a workshop. What we are going to give an idea today only, just today. Okay? In the future, we'll be planning of starting a course of Blazor. So we are only giving a workshop today just to understand what is Blazor. Okay? And please, you can pose your questions in the last. Just, I'll give you time to ask you questions. So just to follow the class first. So you can render the UI as HTML and CSS. You can render the UI as HTML and CSS for wide browser support, including mobile browsers. Yes, guys, the complete UI design is with HTML and CSS, guys. And it will provide you a wide browser support, including mobile browsers. Integrate with modern hosting platforms such as Docker. You'll be integrating with modern hosting platforms like Docker. Docker is a container, yeah, it's a container-based architecture which can be used for hosting up applications. Okay, so if you want to learn more about Docker, just Google. But this is a container-based framework for hosting the applications. And see, using .NET for client-side web development offers the following advantages. Using .NET for client-side web development offers the following advantages. What are the advantages? Write code in C# instead of JavaScript. Leverage the existing .NET ecosystem of .NET libraries. What is that array? You can take the advantage of all the built-in .NET libraries. We have a rich set of libraries available in .NET. You can make use of all these things. Share app logic across server and client. Means the logic will be on server as well as client also. Benefits from .NET performance, reliability, and security. See, performance, reliability, security, all these one of the great features what comes into picture with the .NET. So all these features can be leveraged now. Okay, and mainly stay productive with Visual Studio on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. Mainly the IDE, guys. One of the great thing about .NET is IDE. Am I right? One of the great thing about .NET is the IDE, the Visual Studio IDE. Okay, you'll be using the Visual Studio IDE, and the Visual Studio IDE is available for Windows, Mac, as well as Linux. In the Linux, it is available for you in the form of code. You can just take the advantage of the Visual Studio IDE in this context. So these are the great benefits when you just come to the application development by using Blazor. So first, did you understand what is Blazor, guys? So you can build up client-side code also by using, you can write your client-side code also by using C#. That's one of the great things. Okay, you can stay with your .NET environment and you can just build up your applications much more easier and faster. Basically, there are two things what you just require to understand in Blazor. One is Blazor WebAssembly, and the second thing is going to be Blazor Server. Blazor Server. What is this Blazor WebAssembly? So this is basically one project model here. It's a single page application, single page SPA. What is single page application? Single page application means there will be one UI, that's all. There will be one single UI, and all the interactions will happen from there only. Everything. If you are trying to do a CRUD operation, like inserting, updating, everything will be from the same page only, without performing postbacks, without performing page postbacks. You can just write your code. That's what we call them as single page applications. If you're working already, you might be having a knowledge on the single page applications. Okay, so behind the screen, it will perform some AJAX calls. And with the help of the AJAX calls, one single UI will be present doing all the things. Angular, basically Angular, and all these are single page frameworks only. Okay, so the first option what we have in Blazor is Blazor WebAssembly. What is it? It's a single page framework for building interactive client-side web app with .NET. Blazor WebAssembly uses open web standards without plugins or recompiling code into other languages. Blazor WebAssembly works in all modern web browsers, including mobile browsers. Someone was asking, can I build up mobile apps? Basically, your Blazor apps will be running for you. They are not for mobile apps, but Blazor apps can run for you in the mobile browsers also. They will be running for you on the mobile browsers also. So that is a very important thing about the browser. Okay. Now, you'll have a doubt here. Sir, how can I run the .NET code in the web browser? Because all of us know one thing. What is it? If at all you wanted to run a .NET application on a computer, if at all you want to run a .NET application on a computer, all of us know that we're required to install a .NET runtime. Is every client system installed with this runtime? Guys, answer my question. Is every client system installed with this runtime? No. We need the runtime now. Because runtime will not be installed on the client systems. If you are a developer and I'm a developer, we'll install. If we know who is our client, if we know, we will install on that. But web applications means, more importantly, we don't know the client at all. When we don't know who is the client, how can we make sure the .NET runtimes are installed on the client systems? That's one of the great confusion what we'll have in our minds. Big confusion, not big confusions what we'll have in our minds. Okay? See, running .NET code inside web browser is made possible by WebAssembly. Running .NET code inside web browsers is made possible by WebAssembly, abbreviated WASM. WebAssembly is a compact bytecode format optimized for fast download and maximum execution speed. WebAssembly is an open web standard and supported in web browsers without plugins. It's an open web standard and supported without any plugins. Just a second. WebAssembly code can access the full functionality of the browser via JavaScript, called JavaScript interoperability, often shortened to JavaScript interop or JS interop. .NET code executed by a WebAssembly in the browser's run in the browser's JavaScript sandbox without the protection that the sandbox provides against malicious actions on the client machines. Actually, guys, what it says is, what it's just going to say you is, you can run the .NET code inside the web browser. You can run the .NET code inside the web browser with the help of a concept called as WebAssembly, abbreviated as WASM. Okay? And this WebAssembly is basically a bytecode format optimized for fast download and maximum execution speed. And this WebAssembly is an open web standard and supported in web browsers without plugins. Without the plugins, it is going to be supported for you. So basically, these WebAssemblies can run on any browsers. These WebAssemblies can run on any browsers. But the big question in our mind is, what about the .NET runtime? What about the .NET runtime? I'll answer that question. Okay, just a minute. See, your WebAssembly code can access the full functionalities of the browser via JavaScript. Called JavaScript interoperability. There's a concept called as JavaScript interoperability. By using the JavaScript interoperability, your WebAssembly can consume the complete functionalities of your browser. Okay? And .NET code executed via WebAssembly in the browser runs in the browser's JavaScript sandbox. What is JavaScript sandbox? I'll tell you. Okay, what is JavaScript sandbox? I'll tell you. With the protection that the sandbox provides against malicious actions on the client machine. Okay, now the big question in our mind will be, what is JavaScript sandbox? See, JavaScript sandbox is a protected environment. JavaScript sandbox is a protected environment in which the script cannot access the resources of the browser computer. See, one thing is, guys, every application when we develop, one important thing we require to remember is this code performing malicious actions on the client systems. This code performing malicious actions on the client computers. Means like hacking the resources of the computer, reading of I can just write some JavaScript code, like I can write some JavaScript code that can delete all the Word documents on the computer. The malicious actions can be performed here. To overcome this, there is a concept called as a JavaScript sandbox. And the JavaScript sandbox is a protected environment in which the JavaScript code cannot access the resources of the browser computer. The JavaScript code cannot access the resources of the browser computer. Means it will provide you the security for you. It is going to provide you the security for you, and that's one of the great thing about this particular JavaScript sandbox. So our WebAssemblies also will be running inside of the JavaScript sandbox only. So it is completely protected code. Okay? Which doesn't have any malicious actions on the client, without performing any malicious actions on the client machines. It's completely a protected code which doesn't perform any malicious actions on the client computers. Okay? See, if you understand about a Blazor, WebAssembly, what happens is, when you try to call a Blazor WebAssembly, see, it is going to download three things for you on the client computer, guys. It is going to download you three things with the client computer. What are the three things? One is the Razor components. What are Razor components? The Razor components are nothing but the pages. The Razor components are nothing but the pages. The pages are here, we call them as Razor components. The pages here, no, we don't call them as web pages or something. We call them as Razor components. Second thing, the .NET. The required .NET runtime and everything is going to be downloaded onto the client browser, guys. It is a question we are raising now. How can the .NET applications execute on the client system without a runtime? Okay? All the required components, all the required libraries and runtimes will be downloaded onto the client computer. They'll be downloaded. And third one is the WebAssembly. Third one, all these three are going to be downloaded onto the client computer. They will be downloaded into the client computer and they will be interacting with the browser's DOM and executes the code on the client computers. So you don't require to worry about how my .NET applications will run on the client computer without the help of the .NET runtime. When you access your application, automatically the required .NET runtime will be downloaded onto the client computer. Okay, and now have a look. When a Blazor assembly app is built and run, all of you carefully observe it. When a Blazor WebAssembly app is built and run, C# code files and Razor files are compiled into .NET assemblies. See, C# code files and Razor files are compiled into .NET assembly. Okay, the assembly and the .NET runtime are downloaded to the browser. Yes, guys, this is the important point what I'm trying to highlight you. The assemblies and the .NET runtime are downloaded to the browser. They are downloaded to the browser. Blazor WebAssembly bootstraps the .NET runtime and configure the runtime to load the assemblies from the app. The Blazor WebAssembly runs using JavaScript interrupt to handle DOM manipulations and browser API calls. So basically, how exactly the execution takes place in the sense? First, your C# code and Razor files, all these things will be converted into .NET assemblies. What are Razor files? Razor files are nothing but the Razor components. I said, here web pages will be called as Razor files or Razor components. We call them as Razor components. They're compiled into what? .NET assemblies. And these assemblies and the .NET runtime are downloaded into the browser. Now the Blazor WebAssembly comes into picture, and what it does, it will be executing your .NET assemblies under the .NET runtime. It will be executing the .NET assemblies under the .NET runtime. And it will also take the help of the JavaScript interrupt services to handle or to interact with the browser's DOM and other APIs, because JavaScript is a supported framework. JavaScript is a well-supported framework, actually. The whole world uses to interact with the browser, So now, what Blazor will do, Blazor will take the help of the JavaScript internally to interact with the browser. So guys, did you understand about a Blazor WebAssembly? The application completely loads into the client browser. The application completely loads into a client browser and executes over there. I will show you. I'll show you the application, how it executes basically. It will completely load into the client's browser and execute. Okay, watch it guys, all of you. Just watch it. I'll show you a small example on this. In Visual Studio, I'm creating a new project. In this, guys, select your language as C#, select your platform as Windows or anything, and here choose web. You'll automatically get a Blazor WebAssembly app. Blazor WebAssembly app. A project template for creating a Blazor app that runs on WebAssembly and is optionally hosted by ASP.NET Core App. The template can be used for web apps with rich dynamic user interface. You can use it for creating a rich dynamic user interface. This is the Razor, I'm sorry. This is the Blazor WebAssembly application. Now, select this one and click on the next button. I'm naming it as Blazor Client app. Blazor Client app. I'm storing this in a folder on my computer called as eDrive Workshop. eDrive Workshop is a folder, what I'm saving it. I'll click on the next button. And here it asks you, what it is going to ask you. Yeah, C# code on it. It'll be C# code on it. Okay? It'll ask you what is the target framework. And mine is the .NET 5, the latest update of your Visual Studio. So guys, update to your latest version of the Visual Studio. That is the 2019. 2019, the current one is 16.10 or something is present. We'll just check it out. Just update it so that you'll be getting the latest .NET 5 runtime, that's the latest version. Okay? And here, just that will be by default. Authentication types and all, ignore it and click on the Create button. Click on the Create button. Yeah. It'll go for creating it. It is just installing the dependencies and all. Just a minute. See, when you see an icon like this on the dependencies, it is just still loading and configuring the project. It is still loading and configuring the project. It's just taking time. Let it load and configure the project. Yeah, loaded, guys. Immediately, once the loading is completed, that icon gets removed of there. Here we'll be having pages folder. And these are all the Razor components. These are all called as Razor components. Nothing here like web pages. In other technology, we call web pages. In ESP.NET, we call web forms. If you worked in MVC, we call it as the .cshtml Razor pages. So here we have Razor components. Here we just call them as Razor components. The extension of the files will be .razor. The extension of the file will be .razor. That is the extension of the file. Okay. In this, there is something called counter.razor. Let me open this. And if you just observe this one, see, this is the URL. This is the URL of the page here. Your HTTP localhost server name /counter will open this page. Routing, just like routing. And H1, H1, a paragraph. And the paragraph you are using current count @current count. What is this @current count? I'll tell you. @current count. Now, I have a button using a bootstrap class btn primary. On click is equals to calling a function, increment count. Click me. I'm calling a function increment count. Okay, click me. And see now, this is your C# code. This is your C# code, and you write the C# code under a block called @code. You'll be writing the C# code under a block called as @code. And in that, I just declared a variable private int current count is equals to 0. And in the increment count, I'm incrementing the value. And this current count is what get printed. Now tell me, whenever I click on the button, what will happen? Whenever I click on the count, what will happen? It will call the method. Which method? Increment count method. Increment count method will automatically increment you. Okay. The increment count will automatically increment the count to you. And that count value will be displayed for you in this case. Okay. That count will be incremented for you at this particular place. What is design page again? You only the page here. This is our page. Okay. And mainly, this is a layout page, guys. This is a layout page. There will be a layout here. There will be a layout. And you'll be having a navigation bar in the left-hand side. You'll be having a navigation bar in the left-hand side. Yeah, all the navigation bar code and everything. Run this, you'll understand it much better. Run this. Now when I run this, it is compiled now into .NET Assembly. Just a minute. Guys, observe it. It is showing you about blank, but not showing anything. Just a minute. It will be in the background, it will be loading. In the background, guys, it will be loading. See, it is loading the application into the client's browser. In the background, it is loading the application into the client's browser in the form of a assembly, the required .NET runtime. All this gets loaded into the client's browser. Loaded. This is loaded. This is a layout page. Basically, this is a layout page. What is coming into picture? Yeah, required download. It will download you the required runtime and all the things. But once it downloads, it will cache it. Next time you don't require to downloads and all. First time, the drawback with these applications is initial load time is going to be taking more time. Initial load time will take more time. That's a drawback with this. Fine. And now this is a layout, guys. This is basically a layout, the main layout. And the main layout, we have a sidebar. In this, a navigation bar was there. Okay. So a navigation bar is going to be there. And you see, and on the top, you have a div showing about page. There's an about here. And below that, you have a body. Below that, you have the body. This is the body. This is going to be the body. This is the layout. Okay. And now, yeah, this is the main layout of the appropriate pages. So now, in the navigation bar, in the left navigation bar, you observe it. What is present in the left navigation bar? Home counter fetch data. Home counter fetch data. See there? Home counter fetch data. All these hyperlinks are placed there. All the hyperlinks are going to be placed in that location now. So when we click on them, automatically the appropriate pages are going to be launched. When we click on them, the appropriate pages gets launched. Okay. And now you see, this is the home page. How is Blazor working for you? You can see the home page here. So nothing but the index page. The home page is nothing but the index page. And see the route slash means without any address. If I simply say slash, that will open. Means simple HTTP localhost is opening the page. I don't require to give the name of the page. That is the index page. When I go to counter, this is the counter page I already shown you now. The counter page, what I shown you. And to access the counter page, what should come? Slash counter. You see the address bar, guys? Slash counter. That will launch you. And when I click on the click me, it is executing the code. And now you guys observe it. Is it submitting the page to server? Concentrate. Is it refreshing? It's not submitting the page to server. It is not submitting the page to server actually. Okay, it's incrementing the logic. And is our application running under the IIS? Is our application running under the IIS Express now? Okay, guys, observe it. Can you see the IIS Express in the status tray here? Can you see the IIS Express in the status tray? I'm right-clicking on this. I am right-clicking on this and I'll say exit. I'll say exit. So is IIS running? Just a minute. Okay, so basically I'm just going to stop it. I'm just going to stop this particular site in the background. I'm going to stop this site in the background. I stopped up the site in the background. And even if I stop at the site in the background, can you watch it? The client code is running for you. That's what I said to you. It will download everything and executes on the client side here. It will download everything and executes on the client side. It doesn't have server interactions now. It will download everything and executes for you on the client side. On the client side, the code. I stopped the site. Even though I stopped the site there, my code is executing in the browser. Are you clear? This is the specialty of the Blazor WebAssembly or the WASM. Okay, so there's a very means upcoming concept in the industry right now from Microsoft, and they're expecting in the future they're going to build up all the applications by using this Blazor WASM only. Understood about Blazor WebAssembly now? Even when I stop the site also it is running because the assemblies and the .NET runtime are downloaded to the browser. Yeah, it's a new technology. New technology in the sense it's an upcoming technology. Microsoft has launched it only 2 years back. Only 2 years back this came into market. Yeah. It is just some upcoming technology. Yes, Sam. This is the answer for your question. This is the answer for your question. The size of the published app, its payload size is a critical performance factor for an app's usability. You cannot see. You cannot see. Arey, will you show your logic to others, Vikas? Sorry, Mohammed. Will you show your logic to others? Here also it doesn't show any logic to the others. The script code is a Blazor WebAssembly. The script code will be present for you in a Blazor WebAssembly. And that's in a JS format only. That will be converted into JS format only automatically. Okay, you cannot see any code in this. Why will it show C# code? It won't show. Logic cannot be displayed now. Okay. No, this is not for Play Store apps. Yeah, this is not a mobile app development at all. Different Blazor and Razor pages. Razor pages will run under Blazor, Vikas. Razor pages will be running under Blazor. So Blazor pages are called Razor pages with an extension .razor. Okay, fine. Now, yeah, someone asking the question, sir, is it not a performance factor? Yeah, I agree with you. See, the size of the published app and its payload size is a critical performance factor for an app's usability. The size of the published app, its payload size, it is a critical performance factor for an app's reusability. Okay, a larger app, okay guys, a larger app takes a relatively long time to download to your browser, which diminishes the user experience. A larger app takes a relatively long time to download to your browser, which diminishes the user experience. Yeah. Blazor WebAssembly optimizes payload size to reduce download times. Blazor WebAssembly optimizes payload size to reduce download times. How? Unused code is stripped out of the app when it is published by the intermediate language trimmer. There is a concept called intermediate language trimmer. Unnecessary code will be stripped out of the assembly. It will be stripped out of the app. Next, HTTP responses are compressed. HTTP responses are going to be compressed off, and then the runtime and assembly are cached in the browser. Means the first time when you try to run this application, it will cache you the runtime and the required assemblies into the browser, guys, to give you a good experience. And I'm only telling you what I'm telling you. First time when the app is going to load, it will take more time. Did I say that or not? First time when you run the app, it will be taking more time. Why? It has to download on the client system. But once it downloads, the runtimes and assemblies will be cached off in the browser. Okay. and it will be using a it will be using a IL trimmer to remove unused code and unwanted code, all these particular things, and compressing of the responses. It will try to maximize the performance. Okay, first time it will be a little bit slow, but once loaded, afterwards it will perform good. Once loaded, afterwards it is going to perform good. Okay, so this is the first thing under Blazor. This is the first important thing under the Blazor. So what is that? Blazor WebAssembly. We have one more thing called as Blazor server, guys. We have one more thing called as Blazor server. What is Blazor server? See, the Blazor server, basically, this is like our traditional client server environment. This is like our traditional client server environment. What is it? Interacting with the server for every operation. Interacting with the server for every operation. Did you understand me, guys? It is like our traditional client server environment interacting with the server for every operation. So the code executes on the server only. The code executes on the server only. See, it decouples components rendering logic from how UI updates are applied. Blazor server provides support for hosting Razor components on the server in the ASP.NET Core app. UI updates are handled over the SignalR connection. The runtime stays on the server and handles. So basically, you don't require to download the runtime on the client computer. You don't require to. It's not for web application. This is not for mobiles. Yeah, this is not for mobile. These are for web apps that can run on the mobile, not for building web mobile application. Xamarin is mainly into developing the mobile applications. So here we're not talking about mobile app development. These are web apps only, but capable to run on the mobile browser. But these are not mobile apps. Am I going to teach you the course or not? Put it as secondary. My intention of putting this particular workshop is to understand the latest technologies and trends in the market, what is coming into .NET. As a .NET developer, you just require to know what is coming in the market, what is upcoming. So just to give you an idea, guys, my intention is to give you an idea. Something around 2019, Srikanth, I said you already. Something around 2018 end or 2019 that came. 2018 end or 2019 initially. Then it came into the market. Okay. Why you're comparing with PHP or Django? Ankit, why you're comparing with PHP or Django? Everyone will be providing their own architecture for building the apps here. So will PHP Django application means Python code will execute on client side? Will Python code execute on the client side? That PHP, Django are the same as our MVC, our web forms architectures only. Okay, MVC will be outdated in the future. Means not sure. Yeah, MVC won't be outdated because MVC is one great architecture that is used in the industry for building a complex web applications. So MVC may not be outdated. If no data update on server, then go for Blazor WebAssembly. Pawan, if there is no data update on server, go for WebAssembly. If you require an update on the server, then go for Blazor server. These are two different options what Microsoft has given to us. Tomorrow, I want to develop a calculator application here, a small calculator application, a scientific calculator application that runs on a browser. I want to develop a scientific calculator application that runs on a browser. Do I need any server-side interactions, Pawan? Directly go with a WebAssembly. Go with a WebAssembly. You can build a client-side application directly by using that. No need any server-side interactions. Go with a WebAssembly. Okay. That WebAssembly can be also directly put on the client computer. You put on the client computer with the option called as progressive web app. That's what our main concept is. You can also put it on the client computer, the progressive web app. Client can click on it and open it also. Okay, that's what I'm going to tell you. Okay, that's what I'm just going to tell you. Okay, so you require some server-side interactions. So then go with the Blazor server. Go with the Blazor server. Guys, observe it. It decouples component rendering logic from UI, from how UI updates are applied. Blazor server provides support for hosting Razor components on the server. They'll be hosted on the server in an ASP.NET Core app. The UI updates are handled over the SignalR connections. The runtime stays on the server and handles. So the runtime will not be on the client computers, guys.
Next page.
All those are common. State managements and all those are common here. Okay. So the UI updates are handled over the SignalR. Means communication between the server and the client. Communication between the server and the client happens through SignalR. Communicating between the server and the client will be happening through CLR. And where the runtime will be sitting, the runtime will not be sitting on the client computer, it will be sitting on the server computer. Okay. And what will they do? The runtime will stays on the server and handles. Handles what? The application C# code. Sending UI events from browser to server. UI events from you click on a button should be communicating with the server. Applying UI updates to rendered components that are sent back by the server. So the communication will be happening. This is a traditional. See, the Blazor server option is a very, very traditional, like web application only or client server communication only. Nothing special here. Nothing special in this particular context. Okay. But basically, page postbacks will not be present. The callback, it will be performing you callbacks, not postbacks. Callbacks means partial page submission. It will not go for a complete page submission. It will completely go for a partial page submission. Callbacks, AJAX calls, just like AJAX calls. But it doesn't use AJAX. It will be using SignalR. It will be using SignalR. The connection used by the Blazor server to communicate with the browser is also used to handle JavaScript interrupt calls. I'll tell you what is it. Yeah, this will be the way here. See, this is the server. On the server, your Razor components, your .NET runtime, everything is present on the server only. And this is the client computer, and the communication is happening through SignalR. Did you understand the difference in the picture? Here, everything is downloaded on the browser. Everything is on the browser only. But here, everything is not downloaded. This is server and this is browser. Both these two are two separate things that are running for you. Are you guys clear?
Next page.
If you require any server-side data, then go with Blazor server. If you completely require client-side, I don't want any server-side data. I said I'm building a scientific calculator by using this. I want to run the client. In such scenario, completely go with a Blazor WebAssembly. No need Blazor server at all. Anytime you require any server-side interactions, then only go for a Blazor server. Okay. Well, what is SignalR? ASP.NET Core SignalR is an open source library that simplifies adding real-time web functionalities to app. Real-time web functionality enables server-side code to push contents to client instantly. Means for the client-server communication, it will be using a SignalR. Next, JavaScript interrupt services. For apps that require third-party JavaScript libraries and access to browser API, components interoperate with JavaScript. Components are capable of using any library or API that JavaScript is able to use. C# code can call it into JavaScript code. The JavaScript code can call into C# code. What is it? Mainly, browser APIs are developed by using JavaScript. If you are already into web development, you might be having an idea about it. Browser APIs are always developed by using JavaScript only. Okay, so what happens in our applications is, by using a concept called as a JavaScript interop, C# will communicate with the JavaScript, as well as the JavaScript can also communicate with the C#. Both these can communicate with each other. So C# can directly consume the JavaScript APIs, and in the same way, JavaScript can also call C# APIs. Did you understand what is JavaScript interop? Because completely client environment is today ruled by JavaScript. You must understand this point. Completely client environment is today ruled by JavaScript. JavaScript is main. That is only ruling the complete. Whatever you take anything in the industry today. You take Python, you take PHP, you take Java, you take C# or .NET, whatever you take, everything, when they come to client side, they require to depend on JavaScript only. No other alternative. So all the APIs are developed in JavaScript only. So if at all you want to consume them, it uses a concept called interop services, and C# will communicate with the JavaScript API, and JavaScript API can communicate with C# also. Components. And I said our pages are basically called as components here. We call them as components. You can see Blazor apps are based on components. A component in Blazor is an element of UI, such as a page. Pages are called components. Dialogues or data entry forms. Components in .NET C# classes. Components are .NET C# classes built into .NET assemblies that defines flexible UI rendering logic, handle the user events, can be nested and reused, can be shared and distributed as Razor class libraries or NuGet packages. These components basically here are the pages, guys, and these pages will be interacting with the server. See, this is a simple component. This is a simple component what I was just showing you. Already I shown you this code, remember? A page. See, the component class is usually written in the form of Razor markup pager with a .razor file extension. .razor file extension. Components in Blazor are formally referred as Razor components. Razor is a syntax for combining HTML markup with C# code designed for developer productivity. Razor allows you to switch between HTML markup and C# in the same file with IntelliSense programming support in Visual Studio. Means you can write HTML code as well as C# code in the same file with IntelliSense support and all the advantages. Razor pages and MVC also uses Razor. Guys, all of you are aware now? MVC also uses Razor syntax only now. If you are familiar with MVC, MVC also uses Razor syntax only now. That at the rate, curly braces and all. Only thing is, in MVC we don't use that word code. But here we use that code, the word called code. That's all. Okay, unlike Razor pages and MVC, which are built around the request response model, components are usually specified for client-side UI logic. Mainly, Razor components are for client-side UI logic. In MVC, Razor pages are for request response. Okay, but here they are designed for client-side UI logic to execute the logic on the client side. That will be coming into picture. So, if you just understand, I will show you the same thing by using a previous project I shown you. Now let us develop the same project by using a Blazor server. I will open a Blazor server. Watch now. Watch. Just like a Blazor client app. See, Blazor WebAssembly is a client app. Now I'll go for, see, can you see that Blazor server app? A project template for creating a Blazor server app that runs the server side inside ASP.NET Core App and handles further interaction over a SignalR connection. The template can be used for web apps with rich dynamic user interfaces. Client-server communication. This is completely client-server communication. Click on the next. What is the name of our previous project, guys? Blazor client app. Now I'm giving the name as Blazor server app. Blazor server app. Folder is same. Click on the next. Nothing to do. Click on the create. Here also you'll be having these pages and all the things in common, guys. Counter. Here also we have that particular counter code, same like that. Okay. Fetch data, like index. Some additional files are there, underscore host. This is for interacting between client and servers and all. So like this, some additional pages are there. But run. See now, click on the counter, working. But see, you will not see postbacks here also. Why? That's what I said you. It is going to be a callback. A background means asynchronous calls. The UI will not be disturbed. Calls will be made in the background. The UI will not be disturbed and the calls will be made in the background basically. Okay? So that is what happens to you. And guys, this is a pure client-server communication. This is a pure client-server communication. Shall I preview it? It's a pure client-server communication. And very importantly, watch it. It is not taking that much time what your client app is taking. Have you noticed? Did it take that much time what a client app is taking? Watch it again. Run. Client app has taken a lot of time. But here see immediately address bar is loading up the data and the page is loading up now. And you see here. Okay. Now, what I done in the previous example, do you remember? What is it? IS Express. In the status bar, IS Express. Okay. And Blazor server app and stop site. Is the same thing I done in the previous case also, remember? Stop site. If I stop site, see, it's not running. But when I say stop site, the client app was running, but this is not running. Because it has a client-server communication. Did you understand the difference between client apps and server apps now? Client apps are pure client-side environment. If you feel that I don't require any server code, just go with a client app, Blazor, WebAssembly, okay? And you can just run your code completely on the client systems now. I hope you guys are clear. But server apps completely rely upon the server. They rely upon the server. Okay? Well, actually Blazor came into picture somewhere around 2018, 2019, guys. 2018, 2019 only that came into picture. But later in 2020, in Blazor, they added a new functionality called as a progressive web applications. Progressive web application. What is a progressive web application? Progressive web applications in the sense, these applications basically can run for you on your computers without a browser, without the browser window. Without a browser window, you can run the application. Means it will have its own app window. Okay, I'll tell you. Just watch it. All of you observe it. Create a new project. Selecting Blazor WebAssembly app. Selecting Blazor WebAssembly app. Click on the next button. And just watch. What is it? Blazor PWA. PWA. Progressive Web Application. Blazor progressive web application. Yeah. In Blazor only they given the PWA support. In Blazor only the PWA support was given, Rajat. Okay. Blazor PWA. Now, same how your opening is just going to be in the same way. Click on the next button. Array, I opened the project same way in the previous example, remember? But only thing is now you're required to check the checkbox here. What is the checkbox? Progressive web application. If specified, produces a progressive web application support installation and offline use. Understand here. If specified, produces a progressive web application supporting installation and offline use. Offline use can be done here. Okay. Watch. Click on the create button. What is this progressive web application? You'll understand. Just hold on. When you select this progressive web page, web application, observe guys, basically in the this is our normal Blazor client application, guys. This is our normal Blazor client application, what I opened first today. In this, you'll be finding a folder called www.root. And in here, you'll be finding some files, favicon.ico, index.html like this. And to make your application progressive, I'll show you what is progressive. Just hold on. You'll be having some additional files here. What are the additional files you have? One icon 512.mpg, manifest.json, serviceworker.js. These two files actually, that is an image file, nothing. These two files will make a normal web application as a progressive web application. These two will make a normal web application as a progressive web application. Right now, your application is a progressive web application. So what exactly is a progressive web application? Guys, watch. See the beauty of the progressive web applications. Let me run it. Now tell me, this is like a client app or server app? Tell me, guys. Is it like a client app or server app? Client app, yeah, not server app. See, loading time is taking now, so it's working like a client app. It's taking a loading time, it's client app. Okay? And you see, this is same as our... this is nothing but same as our regular app. Just a minute here. Browser is not responding. Just a client app. Just it's going to be a client app, right? Now the specialty because we selected an option called PWA, Progressive Web Application. We selected an option called PWA, Progressive Web Application. If you guys observe it, here in the address bar, you'll be saying, what is it? See? App available, install Blazor PWA. App available, install Blazor PWA. Click on that and it is telling you this site can be installed as an application. Watch it, all of you guys. This site can be installed as an application. It will open in its own window and safely integrate with Windows features. It will be opening in its own window only. So click on the install button. Once you click on the install button, see that the app got closed in the browser window. The app got closed in the browser window and running on its own window. Guys, did you catch my point? See that the browser window was closed off and the app started working on its own window. Yeah. Means it became a desktop application now. Your app became a desktop application, guys. Yeah. Yes, Zoom or Teams app you'll be watching now, same like that only. Your app became a desktop application. No need to open the browser. No need to open the browser. No need of a browser. See, opening a browser, typing the URL, app is available on the desktop, clicking and opening. Which one do you prefer? Gaurav. Going to your browser, entering the address and opening, or app showing on the on your particular desktop, double click and open. Which one do you prefer? So tomorrow, this app, when I use this PWS, when I use this PWS on the mobile, I can get it on the mobile also. I can get it on the mobile also. Advantage, every company, it will work on mobile also. It will work on mobile also. Every company may not be having an app. Developing an app is a costly effort. Every company may not be having an app. Developing an app may be a costly effort for them. So in that scenarios, they can use this PWA now and simply just putting that app on the client system now. Sorry, mobile now. Did you understand? No need to develop an app here. Without developing an app, you can directly put this on the mobile now. It runs on its own app window. It runs on its own app window. Let me stop IES, guys. Let me exit from IES. Let me exit from IES. Till my app runs. Are you clear? Still my app runs now. That teacher, this is ASP.NET Core only, yeah. This is core only. Okay. Now, guys, right now, what is the name of the tab? Blazor PWD, right? Watch it, all of you. It is coming in your start menu. Yeah, this will install. See, coming in start menu. See. If you want to connect with the database, then you require server-side interaction. This the server should be running. If it requires server-side interactions, it will do in the background. No worries about it. If you want server-side interaction, it will do in the background. No worries about it. Open the file location. It installed you. See that? The programs menu is got installed. I installed on client computer only now. How to install on client computer? Asking client only has to install. Yeah, who are you to and me to install? Client should install. I want to create a shortcut for it on my desktop now. Right click. Send to desktop, create shortcut. Okay. And you can see the Blazor PWA. And double click on it. Right now, guys, the app will not be loaded. The app is not loading. Why, sir? Why the app is not loading here? The reason behind this app not loading here is development time offline mode support is not available. Development time offline mode support is not available. Yeah. Development mode offline support is not available. But if you host this application, if you are going to publish your application on a server, offline mode will work. If you host it on a public server, if you publish it, offline mode will work. Shall we see that? Watch. Let me run. Offline mode won't work. If I try to open also, it will give you error. Yeah, I cannot reach the page. See guys, I am uninstalling the Blazor PWA. I'm uninstalling the Blazor PWA. It'll ask you, shall I clear the data from the Edge browser, everything? Yeah, remove of everything. See, the shortcut is also removed of C. Okay, shortcut also removed of, everything got removed of there. Everything was removed off for you. Now, let me host this application on Microsoft Azure. Let me host it on a public web server, on a public server. I'm hosting on Microsoft Azure. Okay. If you people are aware of hosting on Azure, you will be okay. If you are not aware of hosting on Azure, you will be learning, guys. Most of you are attending MVC classes and ASP.NET. You will be learning over there. So I'm not going to explain you now the steps to host it on Azure. Okay. But just watch the process, understand the things. You will be learning about hosting on Azure and all your MVC classes and ASP.NET classes. Don't worry about that. Watch it, guys. I'm going to host it on Azure now. How? Right click. And I'm going to publish it. Now you also can access the app, guys. I'm hosting on Azure. You also can access the app now from your devices. Azure, click next. I will name the app as Blazor PWA, already there. Yeah. Okay. I will name the app as a PWA workshop. I named the app as a PWA workshop. Okay. Guys, it's hosting. Wait, hold on. Yeah, guys, now all of you can click on this link. Click on this link, guys. Yeah, community version also you can do. No issues. Guys, opening. Loading means that is basically your system network speed. I can't help that, na? That based on your network speed. Okay. Now see here. If you're opening on the mobile device, all of you, if you're opening on the mobile, in the bottom, are you getting this option? Add Blazor PWT home screen. Click on that. Click on that, guys. Click on that. Got the install option? Got the install option? Click. Working also, see. See now, it became a mobile app now. Did you understand about the PWS now? Yeah, works on mobile also. It works on mobile. You go to the menu on the top, left hand side top, go to the menu. On the menu, you have home, counter, fetch data. Sorry, right hand side top, the three lines, the menu, click on it. Under that, you have all the options. So home page, counter, fetch data. Is it a mobile now? See that, it's a mobile layout, automatically changing the layout. Now tell me, mobile apps, PWS apps, these are easy. These are much easy now. These are much easy to develop than going with a mobile app now. Drawbacks are also there. I don't say, but I'm just telling you, it will become easy. No need to invest much time and money. Without investing much time and money, the applications can be installed off. I hope you guys are clear. Laptop also it works now. It works on laptop, it works on mobile, everywhere it works. You can host it wherever you want. Now, is it, when I hosted up there, you're running, see, that's what, basically, until your apps are published, offline mode will not work. Until your apps are published, offline mode will not work. Are you getting me? You're required to host it, guys. Then only offline mode will work. Then only offline mode has to work. That's all. That's it. It will convert of itself into it converts of itself and installs in the client system as a app. That is the specialty of PWS here. Compatible means iOS wise, it is not going to be complete full compatible. You can install on iOS also. Do anyone have iOS? Is anyone using iPhone? iPhone, did it install, Pradeep?
Sure.
Manpreet, no. But when to Sunil, yes. Installed, huh?
Vertical. I'm not seeing for that. Sure.
Sunil, did you install on iOS? Sunil, did you install on iPhone? Yeah, it will. That in-app window may not be coming over there, maybe opened in Safari. But installed, where it runs is none of your business. But installed and executing. Yeah, compatibility wise, it's not going to be good compatible with iOS. Some drawbacks are also there. I agree. This concept is like a born baby, guys. The concept is like new in the market. So because the concept is new in the market, it takes time for compatibility wise, all the things and all. You know that? Twitter is PWA. Do you know Twitter is a PWA? Did you see that anytime? Open Twitter.com. Open Twitter.com, all of you. Watch it, you have the option. App available, install. Twitter is a PWA. Not only today, so many companies today are offering this particular great feature of the PWA. In the future, means may not be having a complete support like a native mobile app, but you can just use it on your systems. Yes, guys, until you know that, no one notices this option is going to be available. Yeah, low budget applications now, no need to put them in the app stores. No need to put them in the app store, yeah. Without putting them in the app store, you can use it. Works, but all features may not be compatible. That's what I said to you, that's all. All features may not be compatible, but it works. Am I clear, guys? Yeah. Security wise, it is going to be okay. Okay. So let me just tell you the pros and cons of it also. Just if you understand, a progressive web application is usually a single page application that uses modern browsers APIs and compatibilities to behave like a desktop app. That will be behaving like a desktop app. Great. If it is added, you can open it. That's what. See now, see the beauty. You don't require apps. App Store support now. If you want to download and install anything on your iPhones, you require to go to App Store now. iStore. You require to go to iStore. In-app purchase, a lot of it. Nothing is directly installed up and running on your system. See. It cannot, some drawbacks are there here. Compared with the mobile app, some drawbacks are there. I'll let you know. But see, I'll let you know. See, the browser APIs are compatible to behave like a desktop API, guys. It behaves like a desktop API. Blazor WebAssembly is a standard-based client-side web app platform, so it can use any browser API, including PW apps required for the following capabilities. First thing, working offline and loading instantly, independently of network speed. It can work offline. Means if it doesn't require any functionalities of the server, it works all offline. Guys, if you're not using them, if you're not in the meeting online, means if you're using it separately, you can switch off your mobile data or your Wi-Fi and test it. The application runs in offline mode. But guys, if you're in meeting, don't do that. If you're in meeting, if you do that, you will be disconnected from the meeting. Be careful. It works. Working offline and loading instantly, independent of network speed. Runs in its own app window. Not just a browser window. Next, being launched from the host operating system, start menu, dock or home screen, anywhere. Or operating system, home or start menu, home screen, from anywhere you can do. Receiving push notifications from a background server even while the user is not using the app. What is push notifications? Do you have any idea of push notifications, guys? Do you have idea of push notifications? See, all your apps, basically today, you install any app now, these apps will be giving notifications to you in the background. Even though you don't use the app, they'll be giving notifications to you. Suppose you installed a shopping app like Amazon. In the background, it will be giving you notifications like today there is an offer, like that. Notifications will come now. Not about updates here. Updates are different. Automatic updates, that is different. Not about updates I'm talking. You install Amazon, huh? If you install Amazon, are you not getting messages on your mobile, guys, like a great Indian sale? These type of messages are you not getting? That is called push notification. Automatic updates also. Automatic updating in the background. Automatic updating on the background. See, on your mobile, you have an option. What's it? You can update your apps when you connect to the Wi-Fi. Like this, you can set your options now. Automatic updates will be working. That also works here. Everything works here. But mobile resources like Bluetooth, these cannot be accessed. Phone resources like Bluetooth, I cannot access the Bluetooth. I cannot access messages. These things are not possible here. Okay. The word progressive used to describe such apps because the user might first discover and use the app within the web browser like any other spy. Just like you will be finding it in the browser. Later, the user progresses to install it on the OS and enable push notifications. So basically, that's called progressive because we'll be identifying dynamically and downloading and installing. Okay. Now we say regular web apps. In simpler terms, what is the regular web app? In simpler terms, it's a website that is designed to be accessible on all devices such that the content gets fit as per the device screen. It is designed using a web technology stack, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc., and operates via browser. Regular web apps, we know every day we develop regular web apps only. They offer various native device features and functionalities. However, it entirely depends on the browser the user is using. In other words, it might be possible that you can access a native device feature on Chrome, but not on Safari or Mozilla Firefox because the browsers are incompatible with that features. What is that native device? What it is trying to tell is, native device functionalities cannot be used. Suppose you're working on Chrome. when you're working on a Chrome, Android features can be accessed. But if you're using a Safari, can I access Android features? That problems are going to be present. Regular web apps. Progressive web app. What is a progressive web app? It's a regular web app only with some extra enabled, with some extras enable it to deliver an excellent user experience. It is a perfect blend of desktop and mobile application experience to give both platforms to the end users. It's a perfect blend of desktop and mobile application experience. Okay. See guys, I just given you a lot of advantages and features, native experience, easy of access, faster services, engaging approaches. I just prepared the detailed notes of it. Simple, you can easily understand that thing. So nothing special to talk about them. Lower development cost. You can just go through them in a quick view. Native experience. Though a PW runs on web technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, regular web app, it gives user experience like a native mobile app. Yes or not? Is it giving experience of a mobile app or not? Tell me. Tell me guys, is it giving you experience of a mobile app or not? That's what. It can use most native device features including push notifications. Record it. If you record, what can I do? It can use most native device, but don't post it on YouTube or anywhere. If you're recording, put it with you. Don't share with others. It can use most native device features including push notifications without relying on the browser or any other entity. It offers a seamless and integrated user experience that is quite tough for one to differentiate between the PW and a native application by considering its look and feel. See, basically, no one can differentiate between, you cannot differentiate between a PW and a native mobile app. See, both are looking same on your mobile device now. Both are looking same on your device now. I will share it on a open Google Classroom and I will give you the link, guys. You can just use it. Array, I'm asking you, the PW is looking like a native mobile app or not? It is looking like a mobile app or not? You cannot differentiate between a PW and a native mobile app. You cannot differentiate between a PW and a native mobile app. Ease of access. See, unlike other mobile apps, PWS do not demand longer download time and make memory space available for installing the applications. The PWS can be shared and installed by a link, which cuts down the number of steps to install the use. These applications can easily keep an app icon on the user's home screen, making the app easily accessible to the users and helps the brand remain in the user mind, improving the chance of interaction. What is that? The advantage with the PW app is mine is a small company. Yeah, I don't have money. I don't have that much of investment to go for a mobile app. So when I don't have that much of investment to go for a mobile app, guys, understand the point here. What is it? Can I just use a PW and install on the client browser? Sorry, install on the client device now? Client mobile. So whenever the client looks at the app, he remembers me now. Whenever the client looks at the app, he remembers me now. So I am in touch with my client. Got the point? I am always in touch with my client. Okay? And something I'll tell you, another advantage I'll tell you. See, see, suppose there is a requirement for you. You want to use an app, one-time use. You want to use an app one time only. You have some requirement. Look a vaccine for you, for example. Okay, think like to book your vaccine, There's a mobile app. You install that app now and to book your things now. To book your vaccine date, you're going to install an app and just going to book it. Installing the app, doing it, one-time requirement. After booking it, you are going to uninstall it. For that, do you really require a mobile app? In that scenarios, these PWs are much better, see? In that type of scenarios, these PWs are much better. Fast service, there's a faster service. PWS can cache the data and serve the user with text style sheets, images and all. Caching, they enable caching and provides you faster service. Okay, engaging approach, push notifications. I can give push notifications and I can be update my customers with my company. So I will keep you hooked with my brand. Means I'm keeping in touch with my brand to you. You don't forget. Every time when I send you push updates, you will not be forgetting me. You can update. Auto updates will work. Discover PWs reside in web browser, and the search engines can easily discover them. PWs will be in the browser. Of all of you, native mobile apps. The number of mobile customers have been growing steadily. According to Statista, the number of smartphone users world will reach 2.87 billion by 2020. Smartphone users worldwide reached 2.87 billion by 2020. To meet modern customer demands, e-commerce enterprises have to provide a fast, easy, and seamless mobile shopping experience. That is where mobile apps and progressive web apps came in. But which should we choose, a progressive web app or a native app? To find an informed decision, you will first need to know the pros and cons of each approach. To simplify this, here is a guideline about the difference between PW and native apps and how business can benefit from each other. How business can benefit from each other. See, these are the advantages of progressive web apps. Accessibility. Faster, easy to install on your devices. Autonomous functionality. It can work offline mode. That's the advantage. Search engine optimization. Google can easily find out your apps and just post it to the user. Cheap and fast development. Loading speed. Initially, first time only, it will be having an impact. Afterwards, you will not have any impact. User experience. Did you find any difference in experience between a mobile app and a PW app? Did you find any difference in the experience between a mobile app and PW app? Then user experience doesn't affect again. Building cost will be low. Online visibility, easy. You don't require to go for app stores now. No need app stores, automatic browsers only will show you this. SEOs, you can just Google and also you can find them. Okay? You need to understand the disadvantages mainly. What are the disadvantages? Feature restrictions. Since PWS are only half apps, their functionality is limited. There are some features that PWS cannot use. For instance, PWS have no access to calendars, contacts, browser bookmarks, and alarms. Yes, guys, PWS cannot access them. Understood my point? And moreover, a PW cannot intercept a SMS or call, get the user's phone number. It cannot do. Mobile apps can do now. Mobile apps can do or not. But PW apps cannot do. No indoor geolocation. What is that? Bluetooth is not accessible. Bluetooth is not accessible. Limited browser support. PWS are not supported by all web browsers, guys. Progressive web apps are Android centric and they don't operate on Safari fully. They will operate, they will not operate Safari fully. taking into account that Safari is the leading browser in the US, 51% of the share market, there is a risk of losing a large mobile app audience if you only have a PWA. Means they will operate here because already you confirmed it is operating, it's running. But all features cannot be leveraged here. That's what I'm trying to tell you. All the features cannot be leveraged. That is the great drawback what you have here. No customer data. No access to customer data like contacts, your social profiles, you cannot access them. Customer data is not available to you. And limited iOS support, guys. This is what I'm telling you. Limited iOS support. With PW push notifications are not available for iOS users. Guys, this is the drawback for iOS users here. This is the drawback for iOS users. What is that? Not available for iOS users. PWS can send push notification only to Android. Because of this, online store owners lose a large target audience. Since iPhone users are big e-commerce consumers, in addition with the PW, iOS users can face problems like limited storage space. Put simply, when iOS users install a PW on their home screen, the offline data will be stored for the maximum of 2 weeks, after which the cache will be cleared off. So it doesn't have complete support here. But native mobile apps have a lot of advantages. Native apps, if you take them into consideration, you have a lot of advantages with your native mobile apps. Comparatively, you'll be having a lot of advantage. First, performance will be good. Great performance. Superior user experience. Okay. Next, interaction with the other apps. That's what basically I said, like social data is not accessible to you in PWA. PWA cannot access contact and social data, but mobile apps can access. Customizability. Okay, these customizations can be done for you. Geofencing. Like locations. The locations and all cannot be accessed for you in PWS. Locations can be accessed, Bluetooth can be accessed, all this. Customers should access on the app stores here. And coming to PWS versus native app, which one to choose? These are some guidelines for us to understand which one to choose. Although native app costs a lot of development and require more time-consuming development process, to ensure the comfort and satisfaction of your consumers, we recommend choosing a native mobile application for your e-commerce site. No. Doesn't support. Native apps offer a more personalized experience, better performance. User experience by seamless serving web pages in the user's browser. Users can access a mobile app with ease, which has been proven to increase engagement and session time. For example, Tinder found that implementing its PW halved the loading time compared with the native apps. It also saw improved session times with PWD and increased engagements for both the swipes and messages. Similarly, Pinterest user spends 40% more time on the company's PWD than other mobile websites, with a core engagement increase of 44%. So what it is telling is, with Pinterest, Pinterest, today there's a very common thing, when you want to download anything or all, you're required to go to Pinterest for downloading. This Pinterest actually, it was telling 40% business got increased for them than mobile sites with PW. Okay. Some developers still opted to build a native app based on advantages that cannot be replicated with a PWA. Each developer scenario will be different depending on their app's functions. So it is critical for developers to look at the pros and cons of each app type. This ensures you are spending resources on a solution that will be best serve your user and enhance your app's overall performance. In this guide, You will give an overview on what apps PWS can offer and share the insights you need to choose which app type is best suited. If you want cross-platform, native apps are fine, but PWS are not fine. Offline mode, both will work. Availability on marketplace, no. Mobile-friendly design, both will offer. Download and install, no. Push notifications available both. Cost of development is high here and medium here. SEO friendly, no, this is not SEO friendly, but this is SEO friendly. Can be added to home screen, yes. Security wise, this is high, this is medium. Battery consumption, medium and high. PWS will consume more batteries, guys. Okay, loading speed, this is medium, this is high. Loading speed for PW is high. Are you guys clear? I'll do one thing, guys. I'll just do one thing. For you to access this document, I will upload this in a Google Classroom. I will share you the link of it. Just a minute, all of you. Don't know, guys, it will be published or not. But all of you, see, mobile apps are designed for consuming the batteries limited. Mobile apps have that feature of consuming the batteries limitedly. But normal apps are not going to be having restrictions to consume the battery resources low. But mobile apps only have that particular functionality. PW apps are also normal web apps only. PW apps are also normal web apps only. So just like a normal web app, PW app also will consume. See, open a browser, something, use on the browser, and use the same thing on the mobile. Mobile consumption will be lesser. PWS doesn't work there. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. PWS doesn't work in accessing cameras, like Bluetooths and all this, contact details, that won't work. This is the code, guys. Try this code. UDD3. Try this UDD3 WTM. Gaurav, have you tried it? Others? Anyone others try this? Anyone others try this, guys? Join, na? Are you, Gaurav, I think you are not using Gmail account. You are not using Gmail. I shared the complete link only. If you're not using Gmail, it may not work. This is open, yeah, open for everyone. Everyone can access it. Just sign in with your Google account and automatically you can join that. Just sign in with your Google account, that's all. Okay. So, well, I'll post it there, guys. If you go to the class work here, create material, add guys, the document name is blazor.doc. I am posting it there. Yeah, guys, I posted it. You can download from there. Okay. Okay, guys, just a thought like, okay, let me bring in the technology to you. That's it. See, sir, how do we build this, sir? Means right now, we are not planning about just starting this PWR developments and all. But I just started up this particular workshop to bring you into the latest technologies. Class code is not required because the project directly itself has its code. I did not write any code here. Temple project has the code, that's all. I just conducted this workshop only to bring in touch to you with the latest trends and technologies in the market, that's all. Okay, maybe this will be uploaded in the YouTube. Don't know if it uploaded, maybe uploaded. If uploaded, I will post that link also here. If uploaded, that link also I'll post you here. Okay, guys, have a nice day. I cannot tell you that when we are going to start the course. Okay, we'll provide that information. Be in touch with our Naresh IT website. Be in touch with our Naresh IT website. We'll be posting up the information. Okay. Yeah, have a nice day, guys. And most of you, my old students, met you after a long time. Okay, nice talking with you all. We'll meet again someday with more updates. MVC can start mostly in the next week, yeah? Yeah, MVC can start mostly in the next week. Next week, we plan to start MVC.
The recording has stopped.